These brooders are amazing. I couldn't be happier with this company.
We absolutely love these cages.
One at a time, okay, guys?
Homesteading is a lifestyle choice. Whether you have a large or small space, you can move towards self-sufficiency. Start with what you need and add more as you can. Start small and grow in confidence. Start with the basics and increase your knowledge. At Bryant's Roost, we believe in sustainability, education, and forward momentum. Follow us on our journey for tips, hacks, and insights. We can grow together.
Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to another Coturnix Corner Morning Musings. You guys got to hang with us here a minute. We're kind of testing out the new add guest feature, and our guest was having some issues, and I was having some issues. But I think we got it figured out now, and in a couple seconds we'll bring out our guest. And I know a lot of you are looking forward to seeing our guest again. She's been out of the scene for a while, but she's back in the scene, and I am really excited that she is. So first off, shout out to our sponsors, Hatching Time, Bryant's Roost, Thieving Otter Farm, and Gopher Ridge Quail. They all are amazing. You know, they donate stuff to the channel every week. Hold on, my dog just walked in. Hey, pup. And they do, donate stuff for us to do giveaways on the channel, and we really do appreciate that. Okay, I think I'm going to keep my announcement short just because I want to spend time with our guest this morning. So let me bring in Allie from Maine's Confetti Quail Farm. Good morning, Allie.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
How have you been?
That's a loaded question. No, I've been good. The past couple of years have been very, very busy. But I'm super excited to get back into quail. So it's a whirlwind right now, getting hatching eggs and trying to figure out goals and all that. So it's exciting.
Right. For those of you who don't know, Allie has done some genetics videos that we have posted here on the channel. And I believe you still have them over on your Facebook page.
They're on the Facebook page. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it was a mess because when I stepped away very quickly, my website went down, and I actually deleted my old Facebook account, not realizing that I would lose permissions for all of my pages and things. So it's been a little bit of a work in progress trying to get back into like the admins and all that. And I need to rebuild my website, but for the most part, I have everything on my files in my computer. So I'll just be building again and starting anew. And you have a lot of the videos on your YouTube, thankfully.
All the ones that we did are still on the channel. Yep.
Yeah.
So again, for those of you who don't know, Allie was into quail several years ago. She helped out with the channel doing videos. She actually taught me what little I know about genetics, but Allie decided she had some life things going on, and I'm going to let her tell you about that. And then she is stepping back into quail now, and I know there's a lot of people that are really happy that you're doing so.
I'm so happy.
Allie, yeah, if you would just give us a brief rundown of what you've been doing and why you decided to get back into quail.
So 2 years ago, when I was raising quail, I was also in cosmetology school. And when I got out of cosmetology school, it was right around January, and I found a space that I didn't really expect to find. So it was very, very quickly launching into basically starting a brick and mortar business that I didn't expect to start so fast. So I was in the middle of the most breeding projects, like the largest number of breeding projects with my Coturnix that I had up to that point. And I just could not juggle the two. So it was a brick and mortar business, had to be focused for a couple of years, obviously, because it was a major financial investment, a major time investment. I was there 6 days a week and I just could not do both. So I had to say, oh, I got to feed my family with money and not quail eggs at the moment. So that's where the focus went for the time being. Now everything there is good and I can finally bring it back in and have hobbies again. But the deciding factor to bring it back into the homestead was we got a puppy, and I know you have puppies too.
Yes,
So,
we do.
yeah. So I lost my dog a year and a half ago to illness, and we just got a new baby. And I started feeling puppy mom guilt because I was looking into the raw dog food stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could find her quail eggs. I wish I could buy her, things to kind of supplement the raw food diet, because I would like to get her into that when she's old enough. And I couldn't find any quail eggs locally, which is ironic. So I was like, I have the whole setup, I have all of the things, and I've got 3 kids, teenagers that want summer jobs. So I'm going to put them to work on the farm instead of having them work somewhere else. And we're going to feed the puppy and us again. And it's just kind of snowballed from there.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So what do you plan on? Where are you going to go with these quail? Are you going to get back into it like you were before with the genetics theme going on, or?
You know that I can't not do the color breeding because it's a slight obsession of mine. There's a line that I want to hopefully find like a balance of, because I was really intense with it before, really particular with it before, which I loved and I thought was super important. And I had the capacity and the ability to be that intentional with it. But with everything else going on right now, I feel like it has to be more fun than sciencey. And honestly, I kind of ran into some things that when I was in breeding projects last time around that brought me some stress. So I'll tell you that. So I had a calico project going on in particular, and this one really kind of bothered me. I had my first round of calicos, which I loved, and I was trying to produce the OZ Sandy on the calico base, and that one hides. So I had the first round come out, and they were all het calico, all carriers of OZ, and those were not the color that I wanted them to come out as, but they were the nicest birds that I had ever had in my coveys. So I got really attached to them, and their use was important for getting to the next breeding step, because one more cross, I would have had my color goal. But honestly, I really, really struggled getting rid of those birds just for the color project, because they were just so nice. They were the nicest hens that we had had, and my kids named them, and they were extras, but they were pet kind of personalities. So that was difficult. This time around, I'm going to enjoy all of the batches that come out, whether or not they're at a particular goal of mine color wise or not. I really want to spend time with each one of them and observe them and enjoy them and have them have the longest life that they can have on the farm, versus, okay, I see what your phenotype is, I need to cross you, now I have your eggs and you're going into the freezer. So it's a little bit different in that scenario.
Do you plan on getting back into shipping again, or is this more of a home thing?
I know I'm going to have people ask, so I'm going to try to have them available.
Cool.
I'm not doing celadons anymore, so that won't be an option. I had a lot of, it wasn't enjoyable. So those aren't going to be around, but I do think that we'll be having some projects with pansies, sparkly, some nice diluters on top of those, and interesting combos with the hopefully white wing pied. I'm hoping.
Cool.
So just like different things that people don't see everywhere.
Right.
And there may be a little bit more personality in them because they're not going to be, all the same thing, but
Sure.
yeah, a little bit different,
Cool.
but along the same lines of diluters and cool pattern modifiers. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump over into the chat room and see who all's here today. If you guys have any questions for Allie, type the letter Q in front of your questions just so I can make sure I don't skip over them. We are going to be doing a giveaway. I'm thinking, let's see, a $50 gift certificate from Hatching Time. We'll do a 30 count from HP over at Gopher Ridge.
I just ordered some from HP yesterday.
Did you? What, sparklies?
Yep.
I saw your post. I knew you were going to get some.
Yep. Thank you, HP.
Let's see, who else? Let's do a 30 count from Bryant's Roost also. And I am going to let Allie select the winners for the hatching time, or for the eggs. So you guys get your questions in, because the best questions seem to get the hatching eggs. All right, let me jump back in here. Did you have something you want to say?
Well, no, if there's no questions yet, I do have something I can mention about the sparklies, what my goal with that is.
Sure, go ahead.
While we're waiting. So, I don't know if you guys remember any of my original videos with Terry. I really, really stressed the clean ferrule lines. Okay. So now that I'm starting over, I was contemplating, do I go with meat maker browns and try to clean them up, which is nearly impossible, or do I try to do something else? Something that I found really interesting when I was breeding before was I was getting a lot of nearly clean farrow from German imports. Okay. And they were hiding underneath all of the fancy genes. So I was working out some of the genes to separate them, like the sparkly and things like that. And I got the most beautiful farrows from those birds. So instead of getting a farrow line from a meat maker line, the US meat maker line, I ordered the sparklies, because under that sparkly is that European German import farrow. So my goal with the sparkly is to keep some of them, but to actually build my farrow line from that instead. Right. The body structure is completely different too, as you know. The meat makers and stuff like that in the States, they're fat potatoes with legs. And the ones that come from the European imports, they have this long, slender, more upright body structure. It just looks like a completely different type of bird. And I really, really want that body structure. So that's the goal for there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a couple of people that are working on cleaning up farrows. I don't know, what kind of progress they've had with them, but all right, let me jump over here. We're going to go ahead and just acknowledge who's in the house today. Fat Country is joining us from Tampa. Says, good morning, everyone. We survived Debbie.
Oh, good. Good morning.
Yeah. The storm was so far offshore, it really didn't do much. Yeah. A lot of rain. Andy Rabbit's in the house, says Fat Country. That's good to hear. Andy Rabbit also says, wow, this is an awesome surprise of a guest. Hello, Allie. I know, and we've been talking, Allie, for the last couple of weeks about bringing a guest on the show, because I'm figuring out this new software. And by the time you came back in the scene, I'm like, Allie, that's the one I got to get. So it worked out perfect, because I wanted to test the software and, test bringing a guest on, and then you popped in out of nowhere. That was amazing.
I did. I popped right in. Yep.
Twisted Gears Farm says, morning from Arkansas.
Good morning.
Homestead Matters says good morning from Eugene, Oregon. Hope everyone is doing well.
This is fun
We
because
are.
I don't know any of these people, Terry.
I know.
A
Yeah.
whole group of new faces.
I know there's a few of in. Well, there's quite a few of them in here that know you. Like Andy Rabbit knows you. I seen Anita Garrett's in the house. She knows you. Bob Cole, I believe, knows you. What did I do? Oh, I hit the wrong button. But once you start getting your videos out, they'll know who you are, and I'm sure that they know you from the channel here. Just from your videos on Coturnix Corner.
Yeah. I'm glad they were helpful and they stayed up. That's good.
Well, and
there's a lot
over
I
the
don't
past
know
2
now.
years, and over the past 2 years, I've had a lot of people asking me about you. What happened to Allie? Where'd she go? Is she coming back? Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Everybody
Allie had
wanted
a
to
mental
know.
breakdown somewhere. She's back now though. It's fine.
Tater Farm says, "Hey everyone, looking in from Central Georgia. Good morning. Glad you could join us. Dragon Girl's in the house. Says good morning everyone. Don Skin is joining us from South Mississippi. Says good to see you. Glad you could join us, Don. Bob Cole's in the house. Says howdy, folks. Howdy, Bob.
How many of these people are color enthusiasts? Is that predominantly, or are we more homesteading?
It seems to me there's more people that are color enthusiasts than there are just feral breeders.
Okay.
Everybody wants the colors. It seems like nowadays. There's a few of them. Like me, I went from colors. I'm going back to strictly meat and eggs birds.
Yep.
Because I don't have the room anymore. I don't know if you heard. I had to sell everything I had, and all my birds were in the house, and the dust and dander from the birds. I mean, I couldn't even talk. I'd do a live stream. I'd be coughing most of the live stream, and then my wife's got COPD, so I kind of had to get rid of all the birds in the house, and
so we both went through. Yeah, we both went through some. Yeah, now we're regrowing from scratch, which is cool. It's a cool opportunity.
Oh yeah,
very cool. Yeah.
Okay, where are we at here? Andy's talking to Bob. Shelby Shaw this morning from Kansas City, Missouri. Glad you could join us, Shelby. John says, good morning from Michigan. I have some celadon eggs in my incubator on lockdown right now. Cool.
Nice. What color mutation of this is he working with? Does he know?
John, question for you, John.
Yeah.
Jerry says, good morning from Eastern Washington. Mark says, good morning, all. Let's see. Tater Farm says, woohoo, here we go. Hey, Terry and Allie and everyone.
So
you could join us.
I'm going to be learning alongside a lot of you too with the new genes that people are talking about. I am in the colors and genetics group, but there are some that I don't know about yet. So I hopefully there's some test things going on there. I have a question. Did we figure out pansy? Did we figure out what was compatible with pansy? Because I stepped out as soon as I was this close. Yes. I think I saw pansy.
That's a good question for Rebecca Lynch.
Okay.
Rebecca Lynch kind of came along right after you stepped out.
Yeah.
And she was kind of taken in by Michael Rose. He kind of took her under his wing and taught her a lot about genetics and whatnot.
Nice.
And she would be the one to ask about that.
All right.
I know I was working on a red pansy line. Yep. And I just got to where I was producing red pansies consistently. And that's when I had to get rid of my birds. So I sold them all to a girl here in Tampa. But she's carrying on the line. And as a matter of fact, she wants to come on the show here next month, I think, to talk about the pansies. So
nice.
But yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff going on about the pansies. Some good, some little conflicting.
I want to hear about the conflict.
Oh, what's you will. Conflict? I'm sure of it.
Oh no, because I need to know what's okay to say and what I shouldn't.
It's some people. I don't know. I don't try not to get drawn into that.
Is that a personal conflict stuff? Okay. I'll create some my own, and then we'll go from there.
Let's see. Patty's Garden Feather says, "Good morning, morning, Patty. Glad you could join us." Homestead Matter says party has started. Woo! Terry says looks good and sounds good. Okay, yeah, I do. I finally got my camera set back up. It's been so terrible for me, Hallie. I was going live from my laptop. This room. Oh, I'm trying to turn the See, I'm turning the laptop to show you the room, and I can't because it's on the camera. But my wife took my computer room away from me and made a spare bedroom out of it because we had company come down from up north. So that's where I'm going live from. But I got to get it fixed back up.
Yep.
Anita Garrett's in the house, says, hello, everyone. Good morning, Anita. Glad you could join us. I'm sure that's one name you remember.
Yes.
Of course. David Farm says you sound and look great this morning. I think I already read that one. Oh, no, I didn't.
So while we're waiting for questions too, I can tell you what I'm starting with.
Go ahead.
That was quite the issue deciding. But I've got the German pastel collection.
Good.
With the goal for taking blue out of there and possibly silver. And I've got the sparkly for the Pharaoh and the fawn and rock cough. And we'll see what randoms pop out. And then I might have some surprise that we decide to dive into. But that's foundation, I guess, what we're starting with. So,
are you going to be working with Rue at all?
On purpose, I'm not sure. But if it pops up, which I'm anticipating it will, because it's the sex-linked recessive for people who are new. I'm going to assume that it's somewhere in the German sparklies, unless HP can tell me that he's never had one come out of there. But I think I've seen pictures of them. So I'm assuming that gene is in that cubby or in that group somewhere. So I will probably have it. What base pattern I'll try to isolate it to, I'm not quite sure. We'll see if I try to isolate it. I might just enjoy all of the things that pop out. And
Sure. Yeah, I think that's what I'm getting back into. I'm going to start out with the Egyptians and try to make a nice meat lineup. I love Rue. Always have.
HP's jumbo Egyptians were some of the most beautiful jumbos I've had. Yeah, loved them. Yeah. So sweet too. Very nice. Docile.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Let's see. Tater Farm says you sound and look great this morning. Cool. It's nice to know that this is working. Andy Rabbit says, good morning, Allie. Nice to have you back.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
See, Homestead Matter says, Allie, how many sparkly eggs did you buy?
Okay. So, this is a good question. All right. You guys, I would buy 1,000 eggs if I didn't do that in the past and learn from it. So the goal here is if I bring in any hatching eggs from any source, I'm limiting myself to 30 eggs. Because worst case scenario, typically I'll get 15 breeders, and that's a whole breeding group anyway. And that's really not more than I need for one particular group of mutations. That's perfect for me. So 30 eggs came with sparkly. I got 30 GPCs, and I got 30 not even 30 rock cough. I think I got a dozen rock cough because I just need a couple of those. So the less that I start with, the better, because I can intentionally know all of the birds individually instead of trying to guess, a group of 20, where's the roux,
Sure.
Yeah. Big mistakes I made in the past.
Tater Farm says, welcome back to your world, Allie.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
Hannah Bishop's in the house says, good morning. Savage Daughter Farm says, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Anita Garrett says, nice to see you back, Allie.
Thank you.
Yeah, Anita her and John went through some changes also. They got rid of a lot of they had basically the same size setup I had, but they got rid of a lot of their birds and moved it to an outside setup instead of being,
How's that going? Because the outside setup in Maine is rough.
With
It's
the
rough.
weather, I can imagine.
Yep. But there's some perks to it. Is she somewhere where it's cold?
She's in Virginia,
Okay. Okay.
right? I think in the Shenandoah Valley area somewhere.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Child of God's in the house. Says good morning. Glad you could join us. Tater Farm said this is a fascinating conversation and I can almost follow it. LOL. I love it.
I know that I confused a lot of people in a lot of the genetics videos, so sorry about that. It's hard to
No,
simplify.
everybody that asked me about genetics, I always point them to those videos because to me that's kind of like an entry level, you know.
I was trying. It's hard
Yeah.
to simplify
Oh, it
because
is.
simplifying, you're not correct when you simplify.
Yep.
So my goal isn't to be the sciencey mind moving forward. I can answer things here and there, but I really, since I have teenagers myself, I'm trying to basically help people be like, okay, this is what I have. This is what I like. What can I do with what I have to have more of what I like, type of thing. So
I think a lot of the issues with genetics, at least for most people that I talk to, are they don't understand what they can get by breeding. Like they say, well, I bred this to that and I got some of these. I'm like, why? They don't understand.
Yep.
And that and understanding recessives, that gets a little bit confusing for some people, but
yeah, especially with things like the sparklies too, because I love sparkly in its heterozygous form, just one copy form, because you can see that it's still an Italian, you can see that it's still a Pharaoh. And when you put a color diluter with that, it's a whole other, universe of pretty. But when you get into the homozygous, they can look, they're really hard to distinguish, but that's what people end up with because they put the heterozygous sparkly with the heterozygous sparkly, they look the same, and then they have something that looks completely different and bizarre.
Exactly.
So that's fascinating to me, which is why I think it's really fun if someone is playing to take notes on every single bird and observe, because the observation process is how you're going to learn the most anyway. A lot more beneficial.
I saw your little video from the Staples store or whatever.
Yes.
Where you bought all the notebooks
like a Quail
and
baby
cards
book.
and
Absolutely. I like a Quail baby book, and then you have your pictures of your chicks and everything. I have so many pictures of every bird that I have hatched, especially with the Pansy Project, because this might be part of the controversy, but I was absolutely convinced that I could see Pansy in het. And I have pictures. So for myself, I wouldn't have to go online and argue that, but I can put it in my book, and my pictures in my book, and my notes in my book, and then be able to, just learn things for myself and see things for myself. It's very interesting. So especially if you have kids and teenagers too, it's really fun.
Right. And that's I want to concentrate on doing a few lines that I can really work with less birds, and be more particular on the breeding and whatnot. Because before, I was pushing anywhere between 300 and 500 birds, and I lose track of a lot of stuff, with that many birds.
Same. I want all mine to have names now, so I can, I want it to be very more of an intimate, process instead of a in with the next group, out with that group, in with the next,
Exactly. Andy Rabbit says, I agree on enjoying them. I keep mine around for a few years.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. This was something that was different. So I absolutely agree with Andy. When I first got in it, I was under the consumption, because I was just reading that we had to replace our stock every year because they wouldn't be productive. They would lose things. Well, when I stepped away, I kept those hens for another year and a half, 2 years before I got rid of my coveys, and they were fantastic. They were still going. They were still healthy, sweet, laying every day. My roosters were great. So I plan on having, hopefully, them for at least 3 years too.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I think Tamara said she had one that was 7, if I remember. Yeah.
Mark here's his first time chat. Good morning, all. Glad you could join us,
Good
Mark.
morning.
Bob says in lockdown now, day 16. Hopeful for a successful hatch very soon. Bob, are those the eggs you got from Thieving Otter Farm? I believe they were. It's about time for them to hatch, I think. Fat Country said, questions. What quail do you have now?
So I've got German PC in lockdown right now. With that said, I don't know how strict people have been with the GPCs. I'm not quite sure, but I'm anticipating that I'm going to get things like tuxedos and stuff like that in there just because. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. So I think I might have some diluter tuxes in with the GPCs. We'll see what comes out. The sparklies that are coming are from, I think, a few of the groups that HP has. So there might be some Fee, some Fawn, and Pharaoh in there. Mm-hmm. And what else? I've got a Egyptian Fee outside and a wild outside. They actually were a first hatch that I had done with my kids since we stopped, and I made a devastating mistake. And we lost a lot of those birds. So unfortunately, I only have 2. I usually have them in the chick shed, but I put the brooder in the basement this time because my husband's storing our honey hives, our beehives in there. So I put them in the basement on the floor thinking that it would be fine because it's 85 degrees, and they did not like that. So I've got those 2 randoms right now, but that's it. And then I've got rock cop coming. Only a few of those. So I don't know if you guys have seen my sparkly Andalusians pictures of those on Fawn. Yeah, sparkly Fawn Andalusian. That's some of my favorites. So I'm hoping to cross the sparkly with GPC and get some of those. We'll see.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do your bees handle the winters up there?
We haven't set them up yet. We've got all of the hives and everything in there, but we haven't. That was one thing we were trying to do this year, but we haven't done that yet. But my father-in-law has kept them up in New Hampshire for, a decade.
Yeah, I know a few people up your way that keep bees.
Yep. Yeah, that will be a project.
That was one of my projects too. After I got rid of my quail, was I got into bees. And
nice.
They're fun.
Yep. That's my husband's thing, so.
Oh yeah, no, they're cool though. Once you get into it, it's worse than quail.
Yeah.
I mean, you want more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Damask. Hope I said that right. LOL. I do dirty breeding for my own. I don't know what that means.
Probably not worried too much about genetics.
Right. Yeah. Savage Daughter Farm says I got my Pharaoh from my sparklies as well.
Perfect. I bet that turned out beautifully. My only concern with it, which is why I posted yesterday, my only concern was when I first started working with the German sparklies, I had them separated because I wanted to watch them for a few generations first before I mixed them in with anything else. And I did notice some of them from my original import, the hens in particular, had a little bit smaller head than normal. And the longer I kept them, some of them, their beaks were elongating. And it only happened maybe 2 or 3 times, but I've never had that in any other group that I've worked with. So that's my only concern with it. I don't know. Hopefully Savage Daughter Farm does not experience that, but I did kind of put my feelers out there to see if other people had. So
I think I saw that.
Yeah. Just if I do see that, I might have to change my plans for the Pharaoh because I wouldn't want that as a foundation to everything, but we'll see. Beautiful body types though, for the most part. Gorgeous.
Okay. CWH number 1 says Wade here. General question. I noticed a limping hen. She has what looks like a bloody wart on the bottom of her feet. What is the problem and how do I treat it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one for you, Allie.
Sounds like Bumble to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I don't experience Bumble because I don't keep my birds on wire. So I don't really know if you can fix it, but I would say disinfect everything, the cage, and I would call the bird, to be honest, but that's me.
Yeah, that's the way I did too. I would just call the bird, but
Mm-hmm.
some birds I did try to treat, especially the color lines that I was trying to keep going.
Yeah.
I would basically just get them off the wire or put a piece of plywood or something in the cage to
Mm-hmm.
have them some way of getting off the wire themselves. But also what you can do is take them and put them in a little container that's got some water with Epsom salts in it. Soak them in that. That'll soften up that crusty little, buildup on the bottom of their feet. And then you can pick that off. If it is true bumblefoot, you can actually dig in there and get out some people call it the seed. But I was talking with Michael Rose, and he says a lot of people will mistake foot injuries. It's not a foot injury, it's a burn. What do you call it? Like a manure burn on the bottom of the feet.
Mm-hmm.
They'll mistake that for bumblefoot. So
Mm-hmm.
before you write it off as bumblefoot, soak them, get them off the wire, and see if they don't clear up. Andrew Rabbit says that's a great breeding goal, Allie.
Thank you. We'll see how it goes. My goals never end the way that I anticipate.
Exactly. David says, how do you remove the sparkly to get a pharaoh line?
Oh, it's a good question. Okay. So I have sparklies coming to me. I'm assuming that I have sparklies that are in het coming and possibly one copy of sparkly. And I have sparklies that will be in there that are homozygous with 2 copies. They're going to look completely different. If you go in the groups, I can put 2 pictures up for you side by side. But the easiest way is to just work with the heterozygous sparkly, because if you just use those, there's going to be some babies that pop out just pharaoh or Italian. If it's on fawn, they'll be Italian. And then from there, you can just use the Italian and your pharaohs that pop out and get pharaohs. And just you're slowly working out the sparkly first, and then you slowly work out the fawn. And for the most part, I think that sparklies are predominantly fawn, heterozygous for fawn and heterozygous for sparkly, for the most part, with the pictures that I've seen. So it shouldn't be that difficult. Maybe a couple breedings. Yeah. Does that answer? I haven't answered genetic questions for a long time, so.
Welcome back. Let's see. Anita says, Allie, that's a great choice to go with the sparklies, as the 2 farms that carry the guaranteed pure meat makers aren't shipping at this time.
That's a bummer. Hopefully someone's been keeping them going, keeping those lines going. See, that's a hard part. It takes so much work to keep a line going.
Right.
It really
I know
does.
there are at least 2 people that are keeping the JMF meat maker line going, but because they cannot use the moniker, Michael Rose got out of it, so he sold his birds to somebody who cannot use the JMF moniker.
Right.
And then same with Anita. She sold a lot of her JMF meat makers, and the people that are breeding them can't use that moniker unless they went to Robbie's course. So, but they're still out there.
Yep. Pharaoh from
Okay,
European
Sam.
lines are amazing anyway. So that's, it's an opportunity.
Yep. Savage Daughter Farm says, hi, Allie. What is your personal favorite diluter?
Oh my gosh. Blue is my baby. Blue's my baby. I need my blue back. That was why immediately I went with the GPC collection, because I don't think people are just selling just blue. I think the hot thing right now is the OZ dilute. which I did have, and it's very beautiful too. But I don't like working with it as much as I like working with blue, because it's immediate gratification with blue. You don't have to wait, you know? And I honestly haven't spent a whole lot of time with silver. So I like silver. I might play with it a little bit. Maybe on pansy. Make people crazy. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I've got.
You're going to have to build more hutches.
No.
Andy
No.
Rabbit says
No.
a perfect guest this morning. I think so too. Mark says, can you mix breed in the same coop?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Confetti, quail, babies everywhere is totally fine.
I remember that.
Yep. It's fine. The only time you really need to take it so seriously is if you really, really want to dedicate a whole lot of time, years, to perfecting a line so you can sell it to other people so they can use it and it's predictable.
Sure.
If that's not your goal, have fun with it. Mix anything that you want together and take pictures of things and figure out what those things do and learn from it. And, you know, have your quail baby book and just enjoy it, because you have to do it for yourself and not everybody else.
Exactly.
You know.
Good way to look at it. Homestead Matters says, questions, with a fawn enhanced het sparkly roux, better off looking at a sparkly pharaoh hen or an Italian hen for darker color enhancement? I'm torn.
With a fawn enhanced het sparkly roux. Okay. Better off looking at sparkly pharaoh hen or Italian hen for darker color enhancement. Sparkly is always going to be darker than fawn or pharaoh alone. I hope I'm interpreting this correctly. Sparkly is always going to make a bird darker unless you're using a diluter gene with it. So if you want a darker bird, double up on the sparkly. If you want it in het form, I don't really care for pharaoh sparklies. Personally, I love a fawn sparkly all day, every day, fawn sparkly. But that's my personal preference. So I would say it's a personal preference of Homestead Matters. If that didn't answer Homestead Matters, I think we're connected on Facebook too. You can message me there if that didn't help.
There you go. Andy Rabbit says, I was debating on putting her playlist as my favorite for the incubator. Cool.
Oh, nice.
I
Very
told you
nice.
a lot of people watch that.
Yeah.
Deanna says, love the diversity of colors. Do I?
Well, the benefit of, I call it a mosh pit of genetics. I don't want people to think that it's a bad thing when I say that. When you toss everything together, that's where you find stuff that is hiding that you didn't know was there.
Right.
It's a lot of fun. That's how I found Andalusian within my they came from Tibetan tuxedo celadons. And I put them together instead of just having them together by themselves. They were just weren't throwing in illusions. So toss them together, see what you get. I think a lot of breeders do that, and they discover new things too.
Right.
Yeah.
Savage Daughter Farm says, I feel like I got to have them all. I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Rabbit says, I'm color, no jumbos.
Yep.
Let's see here. Shelby says, my question is on temperament. My locally sourced birds get overly stimulated with each other. I'm finding they are doing better in small groups, 1 or 2 females to a roux. Is this not unusual?
Oh, well, you saw my face before you said, is this not unusual? I would be curious to see if you're working with Andalusian or silver, or I would be curious, or sparkly, because those I find are the ones that are very particular with who I put them with and who their covey mates are. And they can be nasty. Celadons were the same way. For me personally, I would be curious to see what mutations you've got, because that is unusual in my experience. My birds do much better with more hens because they're not being overbred. If I only had 2 females to 1 roux, they would try to kill the roux because he would be pestering them constantly, and they would not like that. So temperament,
Okay.
yeah, I had some interesting groups, very pretty, but temperament stunk.
It's since you stepped away, Allie, a lot of people, probably most in the first year, started breeding for temperament just because
Yep.
there were so many aggressive birds going around. And a lot of people were figuring out where these aggressive lines were coming from. So they
Yep.
just started, culling anything that was aggressive. And we got a few breeders out there now that have some really nice birds. I mean, Thieving Otter Farm, she was one that really pushed the temperament thing.
Yep.
And some of her birds are so sweet. You can put whatever you want together and they're just fine
Good.
with each other.
That's great. Yeah, I think that needs to be one of the first goals. I mean, way before any kind of color thing. I held on to my celadons who were jerks because I was really, really wanting some information about, inheritance and all that. But it really wasn't worth it in the end. And that's why I'm not having them back, because you don't want to deal with that. And breeders that aren't afraid to cull out, that's great.
Yep.
I always have really nice birds from my shire too. Temperament wise, they've been good for me also. And I do have rock cough coming from Thieving Otter in the mail, and HP. So, yeah.
Okay, Don says, questions. Would birds hatched in the south from eggs shipped from farms up north have issues with the high heat we have?
I think if there's too high heat anywhere you are, that might cause issues.
Yeah.
Whether or not you're shipping from north to south doesn't really matter. But if those boxes are hot, yeah, you're gonna have some problems. So I probably would
I've
wait.
had birds from all over the country, and they did just fine.
Yeah.
As long as they've got fresh air movement, fresh water, they usually seem to do great. Backcountry says, how many quail do you plan on keeping, and what's your role your children are going to play with you coming back into raising quail?
I'm going to end up with twice as many as I plan. But I would like to, I have my 8 breeder hutch. That's my main breeder hutch. I can't have anything more than that. And I would like to maybe only use 6 of the hutches. Unless, and then if something magical pops out somewhere, I'll have a space for it. But I think that that's going to be my max. So 4 to 6 breeding groups is probably my goal, not over that. And then the kids going to play with, okay. So my kids they're not really interested in the genetics part of it. They're just wanting money. So they're going to be doing some chores for mom, and I'm going to, they'll be little farm hands and get some play money that way. My daughter does love the chicks though. So she will probably help me with chick sales during the summertime, because she's the one that actually named our farm Confetti Quail Farm when she was little. And we like doing the cake boxes with the confetti with the little babies in there. And that's something that she's always been a part of. So she'll probably do that with me again. Yeah.
This is in response to the question about the aggressive birds. They're black tuxedos. Still have a lot to learn.
They are black tuxedos, or are there black tuxedos?
No, they are. He's answering your question. You wanted to know what kind of birds they were. I'm trying to go back to his original question.
Oh, his celadons. What color mutation? I think I asked what color mutation his celadons were. So
I think this is his first question. Good morning from Michigan. Have some celadon eggs in the incubator.
Yep.
I'm locked on right now.
Fun thing that happened with me is I also got Tibetan celadons off of eBay. I don't know if it's the same person that I got them from, but I found Andalusian in that. And she hadn't seen it pop out before within that group, but I had a whole lot of very pretty Andalusian celadon layers with white wing pied that came out of that. So it would be that maybe you'll find something more fun. No, the penguins are pretty cute too, though.
Okay, I've been asking this question for quite a while myself, Andy. Andy says, Allie, can you finish the genetics videos, please?
I couldn't even tell you where I left off with it, to be honest.
I can.
You can.
I can
You
tell
probably
you
got a to-do
exactly where
list.
you
Yeah,
left off.
like Allie needs to do. Yeah. Well, I kind of, I feel conflicted with that because a lot of people get angry with me if I'm simplifying things too much.
You left off with Rue.
Did I?
Rue and Sex Link Brown.
Okay. I'm open to it, but I honestly need to do a lot of refresh too, because it's been out of my brain for 2 years,
You and me both. I mean,
Yep. So I've got to refresh, and I've got to catch up with things I've missed, which I don't even know what those are. So if people could tell me what I've missed over the last 2 years.
There's a lot of new stuff that's been introduced.
Yeah.
You saw that the Oz Snowies are here now.
Yep.
That was something that was just released last year. The Ginger line, I think Michael and Rebecca determined that was its own color, its own genetics. Let's see, where's my? There we go.
For the genetics, for the videos that I did, that's pretty good foundation there for working with most of the feather, the pattern modifiers. Beyond the pattern modifiers, it's a lot of I feel like the color genes. So so if you know what the mode of inheritance is for that color gene, and other ones that act the same way, it's pretty straightforward with like how to figure out how it's going to work. But I do really want to encourage people to play and look and watch what happens within their own birds, because I mean, color breeders over here, we argue for years about things, and we we think we know how it works, but there's always that gray area for a long time. So I could give you information that's proven wrong next year. You know what I mean? Because someone's worked with it longer. So I would say be a little trailblazer. If you have something you don't know how it works, play around with it for a couple seasons. Yeah. And then let me know how it goes, and I can help you navigate it, answer questions. I like the one-on-one thing because there's so many things that can pop up, like thousands and thousands of combinations. So I like the one-on-one and seeing pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Raymond says, hey, from Arlington, Texas.
Hello.
Samantha Stratton says, I love the colors, but I'm here for the meat. LOL, I've got so many projects going on. I don't want to add another by getting into colors. I hear you.
Smart. Smart. Yeah, I have my priority list too, my goals, my 4 goals for it, and I need to continuously go back to it to remind myself why I'm doing this.
Right. That was my problem. I started out like it was all meat and eggs, and then few people got me interested. You and Klaus got me interested in genetics, and then I started looking at colors, and then somebody would pop up with a new color. Oh, I got to have that, so now I got to dedicate a whole cage. And it got crazy. Got way out of hand.
It's too much. Yep, too much.
Let's see. Jason says, morning peoples. Anthony says, I'm just starting out. I have 3 that are just for eating eggs and 4 pearl that are 2 weeks old and have 26 more pearl in the incubator. Mine will be mainly for eating eggs and meat.
Nice.
Tater Farm says, I'm with you, Terry. I try to ignore the conflict. Yeah. It's all you can do. Fuzzy's Pet Grooming says, morning. Thanks for all the good info. I built your slanted roof outdoor coop. Love it. Cool.
Which one is that? Did you do one?
I built a 2-layer bachelor pad for outside,
Okay.
and it doesn't have manure trays. It's just got a slanted roof where the top cage, the manure falls on that and then gets washed down behind it.
Nice.
And behind
Okay.
it is a compost pile, compost bin.
See, that's garden gold, and that's one of our goals too. I love it.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to look at that video too, because I haven't seen that one yet.
Robert says, good morning. That's an old one, actually. Tater Farm says, HP's birds are amazing, great temperament and size.
Good.
John says, how many colors make up the German pastel collection? Still trying to learn as much as I can about quail genetics. Any suggestions on reading material?
So, to be honest, I really think that Naomi was the one with the original GPCs that I experienced. And it was blue, silver. I don't know if Andalusian was officially part of it, but I think that it was in there. But I don't really think that it's been kept that way. So you might end up with a whole lot of things. Rue goes on to blue and it still looks blue. So I really don't know if there's like a standard for that anymore. Do you, Terry? No.
No. Okay, let's see. Patty's Garden Feather says, I'm just starting my quail journey. I have 4 jumbo Egyptians, less than a week old. I want to try the meat and eggs, but personally is already so sweet I could easily get into colors. Yeah, it's addicting.
Jumbo Egyptians, yep. Oh gosh, a slippery slope.
Don says, what size incubator are you using?
So I have my Barado. Oh gosh, I can't even tell you how big it is. It's the big Barado that I just use.
The 49?
Yeah.
The real 49, yep.
Yeah, but I love the Barado. The small one is a little powerhouse. So you don't need something that big. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the Lumia 16 and the real 49.
Yep.
Philip says, good morning, Allie. I'm new here. What is the temperament of the sparkly line?
So honestly, the roosters were, for me, I can only speak to the sparklies that I worked with a couple years ago. So there's probably completely different. But for me, I loved them. The hens were sweet. The roosters were sweet. The issue with them, I found, was only happened when I introduced Andalusian to the mix. And sometimes one of those Andalusian birds that was sparkly was a little brat. And it only happened with Andalusian. So I don't think it's the sparkly at all. I think it was the Andalusian that wasn't great. But I can't say for sure. I can't say. It may have been coincidence. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see this time around.
Okay.
I think everybody else who has them says that they're great, though, for now.
Klaus says, nah, still at work, so I'm going to miss this, but hello, Allie.
Hello.
Savage Daughter Farm says, we have reduced our covey down recently to under 200 birds. Our original goal was the Schofield Celadons. We scrapped it just like Rebecca warned we would.
Celadons was the worst thing I ever got into. It really was. It was the worst thing. Yep.
We actually did a live stream with Klaus about Celadons on here.
Yeah.
That was kind of controversial, but
I really think that it's something other than an egg color. We'll just leave it at that. I think there's something not quite right health wise. I'll leave it at that too. But yeah, didn't go well. Nope.
Fat Country says, Terry, when do you plan on going live from your brother-in-law's? I am leaving here on the 25th. and I'll be doing the live stream over Labor Day weekend. So watch for it then. Clint Johnson says, North Fort Myers, Florida here. Just hatched and looking at my first baby quail this morning. We took in a mating pair a while ago, and your channel motivated me to grow out a flock. Cool. North Fort Myers, that's where I'm at. Uh-oh. Andy Rabbit says, I blame Terry, but in reality, these are the two people I should be blaming. LOL, I learned a lot from them. Ellie's videos. Partners in crime.
Yep.
Raj says, can I make quail cage with a deep litter system because it's easier for me, or it's easy for me? Is it good?
I have it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I was going to say, Allie's been doing it for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. We use deep litter throughout the fall and the winter time when it's too cold to go sift sand. Love it. Mm-hmm.
Anita says, Allie, the birds do great outside. We have some sub-zero temps, and we've been over 100 and are in a severe drought situation at the moment with no losses.
Perfect. Natural selection too, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brittany says, is there an app you use for keeping track of stock breeding age, egg type, etc.?
No.
Oh, I know what app we're gonna see. It
This is
doesn't
the
fit
app.
on your phone, but
This is the app. Is
hey,
the
that's
binder.
best way.
I gotta have a hard copy. I can't do digital copies. Nope.
I tried mine on a tablet, iPad.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried it on laptop. I can't do it because I'm out there working. And I'm in an environment where I don't really need my computer out there. But two, it's like I'll mess with the cage and I'll forget to enter the data into the computer and just it never worked for me. So what really worked well was Anita Garrett sells these cage cards that you flip on the cage, and they're basically a dry erase card, and you can write down your notes on the card, and that worked well for me. I did that for quite a while.
Nice.
Sweet. Savage Daughter Farm says we have one hen who is 4 and one who is 3. They have a nice little retirement life as pets. Cool.
Oh, that's good.
Andy Rabb says, but Terry posted the video, so I blame him. Bob says, yep, I'm incubating eggs from Rebecca now, assorted group.
Nice.
Cool. Hope you get a good hatch, Bob. Hannah Bishop says, question, did you supplement light with your covey that continued to lay for several years?
No. I let my girls have breaks when they needed it, though. I only use a solar light, so I'm not running electricity bills crazy, guys, right now. Honestly, the less electricity that you can use, the better. But I use the solar string lights that I pop the bulbs into the back end of the hutches, so it gives them an extended day. But I don't put any additional light on them. They don't need it. If I'm
not mistaken, if you go back into the live streams, search for Allie, and I think one of the first live streams you did, Allie, you showed us a bunch of pictures of your coop setups and all that. Remember that?
Yep. I did have electrical option at that time because I had a lot of hatching eggs that I was doing too, so I really needed them to be producing. But no more of that. They're solar's enough, for us at least. Yeah, I think the whole system. I think I went through the whole system, the whole build, everything. Yeah. And we still don't.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we still don't do any heated waterers. We do the snow during the winter.
They would feed them snow.
Yeah, snow during the winter. I don't know why more people don't do that because they're birds outside. They would do that naturally. So don't make yourself a headache with that either.
Right. William says, hello. I'm also into the quail business. Keeping quail, it's interesting from Zambia. Glad you could join us, William.
Hello.
Raymond says, Ellie's genetics videos were very easy to follow. I've worked with genetics and other animals, and her explanations is by far the least complicated.
Oh, thank you. That makes me
I
happy.
hear a lot of that. I do. I get a lot of that over the past couple of years.
Thank you.
Nita says, the only reason to switch out yearly is if breeding solely for shipping and have extra roos to ensure a high fertility rate, which will beat up the hens.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Exactly what I was doing, even though I wasn't shipping that much.
Yeah.
Tater Farms says, question. What is your setup like? Tiered cages or a more natural aviary? I'm loving your conversation.
So I have 3 different styles of outdoor hutches. I love my original one the best. So I would look at that video that Terry just mentioned. It's on his thing. It's on his playlist. It's a white coupe with blue doors. You can't miss it. But that's my favorite system. Travel cages. Tiered cages. They are tiered hutches with a back that's more natural and a front that's more open, and that's where their feeders and their waterers are. So we literally, my kids and I will go in the woods and grab branches and stuff and like things for them to play with and put them in the back, and that's where they go and they lay and they do their little egg song, and they like that a lot. Yeah, it's fun.
Let's see. Brittany says, in New Hampshire and keep bees. I cannot believe the number of people that raise quail also keep bees. I mean, it was amazing.
Yep. Well, that's my husband's thing. I can't have another hobby. So he's going to be the one.
Yeah, right.
He's got 15 hives sitting out there right now. So I know it's going to be a thing. Mm-hmm.
Why is he getting into it? For honey, or is that
your main
concern?
He's intrigued by it. His father did
addictive.
it. So he has all of the things he needs. And his, oh, you froze up on me. Did you freeze up on me, Terry? Uh-oh.
Keep going. You're fine.
Okay. His long-term goal, well, I would say long-term, he's going to retire in 6 years or so. And he wants to have a nursery here and he's been working on our permaculture orchard for years and years now. So it's just going to be part of the ecosystem for, yeah.
Nice. I started out the same way. My dad had been trying to get me into bees for probably 20 years, and I never really showed an interest in. I mean, he sent me books and this and that, but when he passed away, I thought, you know what, maybe I ought to give it a try, and I did, and I love it. I haven't turned back since. Yep. Let's see. David said, Allie, I would like to hear you expound a little on how the base pharaoh body you are going for is different from what body standard?
So I don't know if this is going to answer it properly, but I'm interpreting it what the like American meat bird is, how that differs, like the American pharaoh differs from the European type. I've just noticed, I don't know if there are standards that are different, but I've just noticed that the body structure on the European line is just it's less about the meat bulk, and it's more about the overall structure. So I think a lot of the production lines, like a lot of the meat production lines, the main goal was to be heavy for the meat production. So they just sit differently to me. Like they seem like they're like instead of standing nice and tall, they kind of sit forward, and they're just heavy and more like sluggish looking because they've just got so much weight on them. The European, they're slender, and they look different to me.
Tamara used to say the same things. She had a printout of the basic standard body type confirmation page, and she would tell me the same thing. She said, our birds, they stand up tall and proud, and they look like kind of like a peacock strutting around. And
Yeah,
American birds are all slouchy and
they are.
potato-y like.
Yes. Yep,
Yeah,
they're different.
no, I agree.
If you get a hutch of German imports, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it right away.
All right, where was I at? I think I skipped over one. Savage Daughter Farm says our next project is English white with a variety of undercoloration and calming them down.
English white. So tuxedos?
No, I think she's talking like a dotted white, but where the
Oh, a different color dot.
dot, yeah, the
Oh,
dot would be different.
cute. That would be cute.
Okay. Anita says, if you aren't breeding for fertile egg production, these birds will live and produce for many years.
Mhm.
We had a group for nearly 8 years. Egg production does slow down with age, just as chickens.
Yeah.
I agree.
I feel bad. I have quail mom guilt because I could have had could have had my girls for a lot longer in the beginning.
You're right.
Yeah.
Fat Country said, Miss Allie, wish you the best and hope you reach your goals and have fun with the family while doing it.
Thank you so much.
Savage Daughter Farm says, I never noticed a smaller head or longer beak in them. I did see in my Schofield Silvers and had to weed it out.
Interesting. Well, I wonder if there was. No, never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
That was my genetic brain being like,
Yep. David Smith says, Ellie, did you choose your Pharaohs from one copy, German Sparkly, or two? What was the best procedure you used? And welcome back.
Thank you. So these eggs are actually in the mail to me. So I have not done this particular project for this new Pharaoh line. However, in the past, when I was creating Pharaoh, I was so close to clean Pharaoh Terry. Oh my God, it's painful to me. It's painful.
I know. I was waiting for them.
I have pictures of them. They're beautiful. But anyway, working with one copy, if you're trying to eliminate genes like mutations, if you're trying to eliminate them, the fastest way to eliminate them is to use the birds that only have one copy of it, so you're not dealing with double that thing that you're trying to remove. So in any time that you can work with something that's in heterozygous form, for that, work with that over something homozygous, because if you work with homozygous, you're just going to create more of the stuff that you're trying to work out. Does that make sense? One copy, yeah. So just work with hets and then breed those hets to the ones that don't end up with sparkly at all, and then continue doing that.
I do want to remind you, Allie, you have to pick 2 winners. So if you've been keeping track of your favorite questions.
Okay.
Better get out your notebook.
Oh gosh, I don't think I have. Okay.
I don't know if you can't see any of the past questions, can you? Because you're watching on your phone.
I am watching on my phone. Yes, I had a big reaction to one, and I'm trying to remember which that was. It was about a fair line. I'll have to. Okay, hold on. I'm paying more attention now.
Jerry says, do you like the breeding as enjoyment, or will you be hatching to sell or share?
I love doing chick deliveries. That is so fun for me, because usually the people that get chick deliveries from us are families with little ones, because they just like the name of the farm too, and it's fun. And they get cake boxes with chicks in them and confetti. So it's like a big deal to little ones. I love that. I don't think that I will not do that. If I have quail, that's going to be something I do. The shipping and the eggs, I don't see. This is where I feel pressure for my lines to be perfect. If I start selling shipping eggs, this is kind of where, if people are open to mixed genetics and I'm outwardly telling you they're mixed and they might throw things that I don't even expect, then that's fine. But I would need someone to know that that's what they were getting and they'd be okay with it.
Andy wants to know, Allie, are you going to be active on the Coturnix Corner website? If not, what group will you be active in?
I am on the website. I haven't really explored it too much though, because I've just been on Facebook trying to reconnect there.
Right.
So I have an intention to, but I think I'll be more on Facebook, if I'm going to be honest.
No, you should. What I do, Allie, is I share everything that I share on Facebook. I try to share it over on the Coturnix Corner community.
Okay.
There's a lot of great people. We got like, I think 5,000 members right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it grew pretty quick.
All right.
And yeah, a lot of great people in there. Let's see. Bob wants to know, how are you getting eggs or birds from Europe?
So there are specific lines that have been imported from Europe to the States. And I know the sparklies were one, the rock cough is one. So if you could, I don't recommend using rock cough to get Pharaoh. Just going to throw that out there as a side note. If you're trying to work with a German line for body structure, do not use rock cough because you're going to have a hidden recessive pansy that's going to haunt you forever if you don't want it. But those two are the best body structures that I've seen. The OC ones that came in and the calico ones that came in that I got were very small. So I probably wouldn't use those in the beginning either. Just add them in for the colors if you're trying to put them in there. But I think the body structure of the sparklies are probably the best to work with.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're being sold as German sparkly.
Right.
Yeah.
Ava says, I started with silvers as eggs. My first hatch from those adults had the most wild variety of colors.
The widest variety of colors came from silvers. Interesting. Started with silvers. My first hatch of those had the most wild variety of colors. I want to see pictures actually of that to see what's in there. That's fascinating to me.
Okay. Anita says, Allie, I love your enthusiasm and can't wait to see these projects pop. I hope you can breed a clean Pharaoh line. If you can get the EB out, your breeding projects will soar.
We'll see. We'll see. That sex link brown, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. So if it sticks around, it's fine. We'll work with it.
Savage Daughter Farm says, we started with the Schofields and have tried to isolate blue, but every time we finally got them established, we got big flaws coming in. I'd love to try again in the future with more variation.
Okay, so here's something that might be helpful. If you think you have blue, always keep the blue in het form. So I know that a lot of people that I spoke to in the beginning were like, you can have a healthy blue that is homozygous, and you can, but I did notice in my blues that were homozygous that they weren't as hardy as the ones that were het for it. They just weren't. They were smaller in size, and they were producing similar issues for me that like a homozygous silver would be, or a homozygous Andalusian would be. So, and I know there was no silver or Andalusian in those birds because I tested them and I tested them and I tested them again. They were only blue. But I would keep all of those things in het form, and maybe that will be better for you later if you do it again.
Okay, Shelby says, I have jumbo meat makers from Kansas City Quail. Thank you for responding.
She did a
Deanna
great
Dalton
job with
says,
her farm.
oh yeah, yes she is.
Yeah.
Deanna Dalton says, I've been having one hen to one roux lately too. I've had good luck so far. Never seen them doing anything, but the eggs are fertile. Let's see. All right, I'm going to skip over and just take questions now because we're running a little late here.
Okay.
Savage Daughter Farm says, have you thought about messing with Merle and Sparkly to see how they interact? I'm not sure if Rebecca has or not, but I think it could be interesting. What's Merle? I never even heard of that.
I believe that's the gene that they're calling that's responsible for the black.
Oh, okay.
I honestly don't like the blacks. I know everybody else loves them. I don't like them. I just don't. I don't know. I don't like them. I don't find them pretty to me.
Yeah, no, I got some from William Carl Foster.
Yeah.
4 years ago, I think, or maybe longer than that. And they were all right, but I just didn't really care for them either. You know,
No.
It wasn't my thing. So.
Nope. That would be an interesting project.
Andy Rabbit says, you left off with Pansy and Sparkly. Oh, that would have been your genetics videos?
Oh, yeah. That one was rough because I'm thinking that some information has come out since then as far as like locus location information for pansies and for calicos, what they're compatible with. So that might be very outdated. I don't know. I'm gonna have to jump in the group and see.
So David says, Allie, you don't have wire for your hutch floors, if I'm following correctly.
No.
So are your hutch floors wood or plastic? And what is the maintenance like? Good question.
So I have my coops are cold weather coops. I was very nervous to have wire here in Maine because of predators underneath grabbing feet. There's no protection. There's no barn or anything like that. And the temperatures are cold. So I would have frozen birds on the bottom of the floors if I had wire here. So what we do is you can look at that whole build video, but it's plywood floor with a recycled pool liner on top. So the moisture doesn't get to the wood. And then I use a few inches of play sand, typically in spring, summer, and almost going into fall. And then when it gets really cold and I don't want to be outside that much because the sand, I sift it. I will switch to the deep litter and it just keeps it warmer for them and they can mess around in it. I don't have to clean it during the fall, winter time, and early spring. I just take it out and replace it with sand again. So it's like a flip-flop between the two. Very easy maintenance, honestly. Unless you have 1,000 birds, then you would not want to do that.
Let's see. Miranda says, question, where are the images that went with the color talks? I never could find them.
I think when I deleted my Facebook account, all of my posts and everything went away.
Oh, wow.
So I have them on my old computer and on my hard drive, and I'm going to pull that back up and I'm going to put that back up if you would like me to.
Yeah, I think anything that anything that's information is good, you know.
I don't want to spam your group.
Nope.
So, okay, if you want them there, I'll put them there. Okay.
Child of God says, I'm adding some new blood to my birds. I need a small incubator that is good, low cost, measure humidity and temperature. Any recommendations? Oh, an easy setup, a senior, low income, and slower brain. You just described me.
The smallest Barado incubator is the best thing ever. I think. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I've always had good luck with mine.
Yeah, I just keep it on 97. I don't know if you do it differently, but I keep it on 97.5 the whole entire time. Or 90. No, I'm not saying 99.7 the whole entire time. And during the first 14 days, you fill the little outside cups with water, and then that's all I do. Just make sure there's water in it, and then lockdown day, fill the base of the tray, and that's it. I just leave it. So easy.
Anita says, Allie, don't let the other reactions control the way you teach genetics bother you. Most people include included. Look forward to a less scientific description of genetics. I loved your videos. Please do more.
Oh, that's nice.
Told you.
Thank you. I do have thick skin. It just annoys me.
Here's another one. Andy says Allie's videos were easy to understand. I may have had to watch them a few times before it clicked. I can't tell you how many times I've watched the Rue video.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
Rue was the hardest
just to
thing for me
get-
to get my head around. You to ask
Yeah.
Klaus, I blew him up for months and months and months, and he he didn't kill me, thank God. But that one's rough. Yeah, that one's rough.
Yep.
Also, just so you know, I have extended
okay.
family coming in, and all of my family coming in the house right now. So if you hear a little bit in the background, that's why. I've told them to be good and quiet. So we'll see.
These Sunday lives are laid back. We don't care. David DeBar says, Terry, I will be locking down my Gopher Ridge gifted quail eggs today. I will keep you posted on the hatch rate. Cool. Yes, do that.
I wish I could see the questions. You have to announce the winners at the end of the call?
Yeah.
Is that what you do? Okay.
Yep.
I wish I could see the questions in the thing, but I can't.
You can't scroll back on them?
I don't think I can. No.
You don't have to pick. I can pick them for you, Allie.
Let's
It's no big
yeah.
deal.
How about you do that? Because you can see the good ones. Good ones.
Let's see. Homestead Matter says we went from never heard of quail to never want to buy a chicken and eggs in the store again. Terry's videos for raising quail and then the genetics videos have been instrumental. Thank you so much.
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Raymond says, question, I would love to obtain some clean farrows right now. I'm hatching jumbo browns as we speak. Who has the clean ones?
I don't think anybody has clean lines.
Nope.
Nobody.
Rebecca Lynch is working on them right now. And I think she said it'd be either late fall or early spring before they'd be released. So
yeah, it's a
keep an eye on
tremendous
TV and farm.
undertaking. So if you find one, everybody's gonna. If someone creates that, it's gonna be great for everybody. But it is
I tried
hard
for a
to.
year. I couldn't
It's
do it.
hard. No, because the sex-linked brown, you don't see it. A lot of the case, you don't see it, and it's just gonna. If you have it in one thing, if you ever get something that you think is clean, do not put them with other, with like a jumbo brown. Keep them completely separate. Yep. So your jumbo browns right now, do not work them into any kind of farrow project later if you have a clean farrow, if that's something that you would want to do. But honestly, I wouldn't stress about it. It's just
No, I mean, the clean farrow line is basically for the people that want to do genetics and see
Yes.
what the color
Yes.
actually looks like, you
Yep.
know, undiluted. So
Yep, but you can get some really pretty colors with a sex-linked brown in there too. So it's not
this is why
necessary.
you need to spend some time on CoturnixCorner.com, Allie. Andy says some of us don't do Facebook.
I'm sorry. I want to. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see where we at here. All right, I got to skip over some of these that don't have questions. David says, Allie, where can I find a color compendium for quail so that I can learn how to differentiate heterozygous from homozygous?
I will put all the pictures that I've got for you in Terry's group. Homozygous, heterozygous is going to be different for any kind of mutation that you work with. I would say start your own right now, too. So take pictures of your quail right now, how they are, so you can keep your own going, because everybody else's flock is everybody else's flock, but you're only working with your birds. So I would say focus on your hutch and keep photo documents of them, and then chat with us, and we'll talk about what you've got going on.
Okay. Fat Country wants to know, Do you have any interest in breeding any of the black Quail lines?
No.
I think you said that already.
No.
All right, last question. What do you mean by clean line farrows?
So clean line farrow is a Coturnix with just the farrow base only. There's no additional color mutations on that bird. So in the United States, sex-linked brown is on most of our farrows. It's a diluter. Well, I used to refer to it as a diluter gene. It might be called something else right now, but it's a sex-linked gene, and it doesn't change the phenotype of the farrow very much, but it does add more of like a red to the color variation. So people who are super interested in color projects that are, let's say, a farrow with only blue dilute, and they want to see that phenotype with nothing else acting on it, they would not want the sex-linked brown in there. But it's just hard to find in the States because they're on all the farrows practically. So, and it's very difficult to get it out. So I would say don't even worry about it. I would say use a farrow line. Doesn't matter if it has sex-linked brown in it, and have fun with your color projects. And just know that they might look a little redder in some areas than they would if they didn't have sex-linked brown, and that's fine. But, yeah. Don't stress.
All right, I gotta get one more here.
I hope I had enough caffeine this morning. I don't know. I don't know if I'm I don't know if I'm making a whole lot of sense this morning for you guys. Hopefully I am.
That was great. I am so happy you are back, Allie.
Me too. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for those of you who are going to call out your names for the giveaways, don't forget to send me your shipping information to, I better put it up there if I can spell it right this time. Ship it or send it to my email, terry@coturnixcorner.com. I just posted it in the chat. Bryant's Roost is going to ship some eggs to Andy Rabbit. Gopher Ridge eggs are going to David Bullock. And Hannah Bishop, you're getting a $50 Hatching Time gift certificate. So if you guys would all send me your shipping information, make sure you include a good phone number and a good email, because sometimes, especially now, guys, with the weather being like it is, the breeders might delay shipping a little bit just due to the weather. So, yeah, make sure I get a good email and a good phone number. Allie, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we pull the plug on this one?
No, I just wanted to say congratulations to the winners. That's fun and exciting. And I hope that you'll have me back on as
I will.
move forward. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
I think we're going to get you and Klaus together on at the same time.
Oh,
That would be interesting.
that would be interesting.
Exactly. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Allie, thank you so much. Anytime you want to come on, or anytime you want to do another genetics video, I'm up for it.
All righty.
So, everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thanks again, Allie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.